Yes, perhaps the title is a little clickbaity, but not really, because it is truly how I feel. Like, I am so done with PlatformIO, and I normally say to each their own, and I still believe that, but man, I do not understand why anybody uses PlatformIO with other alternatives currently out there. And hopefully, I can illustrate a little bit of why that's the case because I'm not doing something very hard at all. And it is now virtually impossible because of PlatformIO. Whereas with even the Arduino IDE, which I also love to push people away from, this works just fine. And so, like Platform IO, as far as I have been able to tell the last couple days of playing with this, throws this huge layer of abstraction around an already perfectly good and working development environment called ESP in this case. And yeah, anyway, let me just get into it. So, that music is being a little loud in my ears. I don't know how loud it's coming through on your end. Just gonna turn it down a little bit. There we go. Okay. Okay, and hopefully you can't hear my computer that is probably sounding like a 747 about to take off because I am running this in a virtual box because I refuse to install any of this garbage on my local machine, which is probably easy to clean up. It's just going to put it in a .platform.io folder and all that. But anyway, I'm just doing it within the virtual machine so that I know that I have a completely clean environment and nothing else because I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff here. So, okay. Step one. I have a customer of Deploy the Fleet that has reached out and said that they have tried to update to the 2.0 version of the platform, the new version that I released a couple months back, and that the Deploy the Fleet SDK will not build on PlatformIO, which I never tested because I don't use PlatformIO. I know it works natively in the IDF as a component. I know it works as a library in the Arduino IDEs. I have tested all of that, but I had never tested it on PlatformIO. And so we're going to do that. Meow. Hi. Thanks for joining. Okay. So the very first thing I'm going to do, I love how it says uninstall because I actually canceled the installation. Even the extension is a hot mess. So I'm going to uninstall that. I'm going to hit restart extensions. And I am just in VS Code and I want to install the PlatformIO IDE. Watch what's going to happen. I'm going to click install. It's going to start doing its little thing down here and it's going to show me some stuff. And then it's going to be like, oh, dang, I'm sorry. I cannot find a working Python 3.6 interpreter. Please install the latest Python 3 and restart VS Code. If that was the message you got, you would think, shoot, I don't have Python 3 installed. Of course, that's not even remotely true on Ubuntu. As you can see up here, I ran Python 3 version, Python 3.10. So I do have it installed. So what's the problem? And now it's like if I had clicked that dialog that was behind my head that you probably couldn't read, it would ask me to select my location of Python 3. And so I put in that user bin Python 3 path. And then it's like, sorry, you don't have Python 3 installed. Like, please install it and restart VS Code, which is all bullcrap. Like, it's totally there. And so that's actually not the issue. And so what we're going to do is we're going to uninstall here and we're going to restart extensions. It needs Python 3 virtual environment, which is not installed on my machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to do sudo apt install python 3 venv. Nightcry, hey, just stop messing with the drone in time to catch it. Hey, thanks for joining. I'm going to be a bit of a downer today. Like, I'm so upset with PlatformIO and I hate it. And I'm just basically going to be expressing my hatred for it. So if you're a PlatformIO fan, probably not the stream for you, but just illustrating why this is such a pain and why people should avoid it. I truly believe that. So I'm just trying to get the extension installed. All right, so what we need to do is install the Python 3 virtual environment. So we're going to do that. And yes. Great, Python 3 is installed now. We can exit that. And now let's try to install the extension. I assume now it will work. But even, I mean, it's a small thing, but again, this is supposed to be an extremely mature ecosystem, and right out of the gate, trying to install the extension, it's like, I don't know where Python 3 is. Okay, so there we go. Platform IDE has been successfully installed. Please reload window. Great, reload now. Okay, Nightcry, I'm, again, to each their own. I'm glad you love PlatformIO. I'm going to show you how when it goes wrong, it goes super wrong and is near impossible to untangle the ball of yarn that it is to get fixed. Which I'm sure people will come in, haters in the comments, saying it's because I'm an idiot and I can't figure out PlatformIO, which maybe you're the person that can do that for me. Because right now, I'll take any kind of unlock. I don't care if I'm an idiot. I just need to get through this problem and get it to work. Okay. Great. PlatformIO is installed. Look at that. It's beautiful. I get my little ant alien thing, whatever it is, icon over here. And it says, you have not opened a PlatformIO project. So I'm going to create a new one. New project. Okay, and I'm going to call this deploy the fleet test. Whoa, with just one S. And then I'm going to select the board. In this case, I really just am going to use an ESP32 dev module. So just the same one that we use in all these streams, just a little dev kit. So the dev module, that is unimportant to the problem that we're going to uncover here. So let me, and then use default location, which is home test documents PlatformIO. Sure. I have a dev folder, but again, this is in a virtual machine. I don't care. Throw it wherever you want it. PlatformIO that makes you most happy. Okay, so that's good to know. You only use the PlatformIO via CLI. Okay. I don't know how long you can stick around, Nightcry, but you might be the person that can unlock me here. So I'm going to show you the problem I have. I don't think it's just the VS Code extension issue. After digging into this extensively on Saturday, this has to do with. So while this is doing whatever it's doing, like it feels like it should only be creating a few files, and it's going to take like half an hour. The deploy the fleet, I learned this over the weekend, that PlatformIO ingests all of the Arduino libraries into its own sort of library manager, which is kind of cool. It's like, hey, I built an Arduino library and now it's available to PlatformIO users. That would be great if it worked. But the reason it doesn't, I will show in a minute. But what I learned over the weekend is that instead of just like the Arduino IDE of putting a very thin abstraction layer over IDF to build ESP32 projects, PlatformIO has put an extremely heavy, convoluted abstraction layer above IDF in the interest of optimization, so I read, which is that it builds all the IDF into a whole bunch of binaries through a tool that Espressif has released that allows you to do this, but if you don't do it correctly, you're missing header files, which is the problem that we're running into. And unwinding that Rube Goldberg machine to try and figure out how to fix it has proved so far impossible to me. And so that's what I'm going to be digging into today. Okay, so as all PlatformIO projects have, I've got this Platform IO INI. I do want the framework to be Arduino because you can select that or ESP-IDF. As far as I understand it, selecting ESP-IDF would fix this particular issue that I'm about to show, but the customer, Deploy the Fleet, is using Arduino. And so we also have this platform ESP32, which is also an out-of-the-box thing that PlatformIO provides for you. Now, all I want to do here is I'm going to come into source, main. Oh, this looks great. Setup loop. Just to start things out here, I'm going to click build. And it's going to compile everything. Now, actually, I do want to look at that. Let's see. How do I... You know what I've noticed in this virtual machine is it doesn't show me the little arrows to, like, make these bigger or smaller. I have to like just click right near them and do it. Okay, I want to look at this. Compiling. Okay, this is in my local. Okay, so I'm sure anybody that's a PlatformIO expert is going to watch this stream and just cringe at my inability to understand, or my inexperience. Really, I have a great ability to understand it. I'm new to PlatformIO. So let's look at this really quick. Let's look at files. Okay. PlatformIO, this is empty. This is where I was going to put my project, but it wanted to put it somewhere else. So great, we're going to just delete that and not worry about it. I'm going to come to my home folder, and then I'm going to hit Control H to show all the hidden folders. And I would also like this to be a different view. There we go. All right, and now I have this PlatformIO folder. Great. I'm going to open that, and then I'm going to open up next door to it this guy, and I'm going to go to my, where did it say it was putting it? Documents. Yeah, Documents, PlatformIO, Projects. Okay, and I have this DTF test. All right. Cannot find expressive stuff. Yeah, Nightcry, you're following along at home. Okay, so at the user level, home PlatformIO, I have a bunch of things here. And I have packages and platforms, which I found to be the interesting part. So platforms, you'll see I have ESP32. And this is where I was originally thinking, oh, dang, cool. This is where I'm going to find the IDF. They've just embedded it somewhere. Arduino does a similar thing where they install the IDF for you, like under the covers. You don't have to worry about it, but it's the full IDF and it's there. So I was thinking, oh, this is where it's going to be. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't look like the IDF at all. I've got this builder, which I think is going to be important. We'll come back to that. You have some examples, monitor, boards. Boards has like a load of things in it. But this builder has this frameworks folder in it. I was like, okay, cool. From my PlatformIO and I, I'm using the Arduino framework. And it's like, oh, here we go. We have Arduino and you have ESP-IDF, embed files. But these are just Python programs that if you open, for example, let's drop this Arduino Pi into our VS Code terminal here. You can see it's got less than 40 lines of code, most of which are just the header here. And it's just saying like, hey, you know, there's this embed files, build core. Like there's not a whole lot going on here. And so let's look at embed files. Like, okay, extract files. It's a little longer, but it's not crazy. And so I'm not seeing any IDF framework stuff here, which I was expecting to see. Okay, so this is that's in frameworks, builder frameworks. That's in platforms. Okay, you have examples, Python. None of these are super interesting. And then back up at the very top, I have packages. And now I have this, which is going to be very interesting here in a minute. This is the framework Arduino ESP32. So if I click on that, I can see, oh, sweet, libraries. Let me come into here. Hey, these are all the Arduino. So there's the Arduino core that Espressif publishes, which is the Arduino wrapper over IDF. And so you get all your Arduino syntax and everything. But you can do this in a native IDF products. And so they've offered that, and that's very popular with the Arduino IDE, but you can also use it in the native ESP-IDF project, just as a component. But these I are very familiar to me. I get these. If I come into HTTP update, I will see the source, and this is just a straight Arduino. And let's actually pop open a... Let's look at this. Not now. GitHub.com/Espressif. Let's just start there. Repositories. Then we're going to come to here and we're going to do Arduino ESP32. Okay, let's click on this. I'm going to show you. We have libraries, and if we come into libraries, very similar. Arduino OTA, BLE. This is the exact same. This is exactly what we're looking at. Okay. All right. Let's come back to visual. Nope. Let's come back to our files and folders. That's what we're looking at here. Okay. And let's actually open up the README and see what it says. Arduino what I never found when I was messing with this over the weekend is, and I want to kind of definitively try to, well, actually, I did definitively prove this. I'll show you. So, PlatformIO supports Arduino. They do that via the Arduino Core, Arduino ESP32 project that is officially released by Espressif, the chipmaker. Okay, and that's what we're looking at in here, sort of. So the library is all very standard. Looks like it's a direct pull from the repository. Now, if we come into tools, SDK, ESP32. Let's look into here. This is unfamiliar to me. Okay, but if I come in here and I come into lib, you will see a whole bunch of .a files. libconsole, libcore, libcxx, libdriver. These are all pre-compiled binaries of the IDF. And shortly we should get to how those come to be. But so what we are dealing with here is not the raw IDF from source. They have pre-compiled a bunch of stuff. Okay, which, okay. What's in versions.txt? Yeah, okay, and so right here, you can see ESP IDF version 4.4.7. Ancient. Ancient. Okay? That is old. That is not new. In fact, let's see, 4.4.7. Let's go back to our Firefox. And we should be able to come back up to here and look at repositories and look at IDF. ESP IDF, and they have a fun little thing right here that shows you how long things are supported, service period, maintenance period. I don't see IDF 4.4.7 on here because it's end of life. It's gone. So this is like strike 14 already, but if we're keeping track, like install wasn't great, strike 1. This is a big one, okay? And this is the thing I've harped over and over when people say, like, oh, I just love PlatformIO because it's really easy. Like, and I'm sure it is for trivial projects to get set up out of the box. And I'm all about that, hobby things. For a production product, which is what production ESP32 is all about, this is unacceptable. Like, if the default state of PlatformIO out of the box with the Arduino framework is an extremely old version of IDF, it's a deal breaker. Okay, Nightcry, you're saying yours has 5.5.1. I mean, I can't remember when you joined here. I've done nothing crazy. I have literally just created a new project. So I would be super interested to know what you did to, and this is a brand new install. I just installed the extension 10 minutes ago. Like, this is the default state that I'm landing in out of the box. And so let's come back to our file. So we got a viewer on stream here saying they got 5.5.1. I'm not sure how to get to that state. Like, this was just installed today. You can see the modified, but this has an old date on it because it's copied. But so yeah, like old, very old. Okay, and then it puts the tools in here, and so all of this so far I don't like. I don't like that it's trying to be helpful for me because it's abstracted already away the baseline development environment way too much for my liking. Like, I don't have access to the source now of IDF because they've put it into precompiled binaries, which is not an optimization for me as the developer, right? Like, it maybe saves me a little bit of build time, but it makes everything else harder about what I'm about to dig into. Okay. So this built, everything looks good. We're on an ancient version. Oh, we weren't done exploring files. Let's keep exploring these. Okay, so that's kind of the global level PlatformIO stuff that's going on. Then down here in my DTF test, I've got a PIO folder which it creates, and if I click on that, I see build, I see ESP32 dev, and now like I have this lib framework Arduino A, which I believe is that full Arduino. This has a whole bunch of, what am I looking for in particular here? Source. Okay. Felt like I got some more stuff in the local PIO before, but we'll come back to it. Okay. Oh, one other thing I wanted to cover back here in the packages. is not libraries, cores. I think, is this it? lib64. Oh, it might be up in the platforms. Platforms, ESP32. No, builder, frameworks. No, it's not here. You get a subset of header files, and I can't remember where those get put. Tools, SDK. Oh, include. Here we go. Okay, include. Down here again, and this again is from some sort of hidden build process that's outside of your view, that if I want to include the console, for example, it gives me the header. So I can include espconsole.h into my file. Okay, so let's come into here and let's just try this. I'll include espconsole.h. Save that. And now I'm gonna hit build again. And I shouldn't get an error as far as I'm aware of. I've not tried this. Great, success. Now, the thing that's going to be a problem, and I'm going to foreshadow here, is I'm going to include SPI. What is it? ESP. Nope. Dang it. I gotta look it up. Bear with me. It's in the IDF here. Let's come back to code. Let's go into components. Let's come into SPI flash. Include SPI flash M map. SPI flash M map. Let's go back. So if I come into here and I say, I want to include SPI flash mmap, because that is a valid ESP IDF header. I believe the build should fail at this point and say, I don't know what that is. Exactly. Include SPI flash mmap. It sounds like I don't know what that is, even though it is, and it's not just because I was looking at the master branch of IDF, like this file has existed since 4. Forever ago. But where it does not exist is in here. So this ESP32 under the SDK, there is an SPI flash folder. If we scroll down, SPI flash, include, but there is no SPI flash memmap. That file is not in here. And again, this is because there is a build process that goes into giving you the ESP IDF for PlatformIO that you are not involved in, and there's been decisions made of what include files, what header files you get and which ones you don't get. And that's another strike for me on PlatformIO. Like that is an unacceptable, great for hobby, like abstracts away, I don't have to care about header files and this and that. But for a product, that is a deal breaker. That's another deal breaker. Like I can't have somebody else deciding which header files that are a part of the ESP IDF I get access to. I also can't have somebody else deciding which version of IDF I get out of the box. Now, again, I'm sure there's a way to get the most recent version of IDF, but the second part of this is, or third part, I don't know what part we're on, part N. Remember when we were back up here looking at, yes, this right here, packages. We're looking at the framework Arduino ESP32. Again, this is the Arduino core that ESP gives us. So let's go back over and let's look at this. What was I trying to do? This. I want to, dang it, I want the name of it. Let's just do this little hack, rename, Control-C, escape. Okay, let's do a search for that in our browser. Okay, PlatformIO framework. This is the official PlatformIO registry. Out of the box, we have chosen the Arduino framework, so this is what you get. And the very first thing I want to draw your attention to is this. Last modified a year ago. And you can see the version of this is 3.2001, and then let's go to the repository for it, okay? And you'll see the last release. Sorry, this is where it got confusing for me, and so I'm gonna help you follow along. We came from the PlatformIO framework Arduino ESP32, and what does it say? It says by PlatformIO. Okay, so I'm looking. Oh, this is a framework that's created by PlatformIO, and then it says the repository is this, which took us to Espressif. This is the official Arduino ESP32 project from Espressif. You will see the latest release was 2 weeks ago, and it was released 3.3.4. Okay, so the official Arduino core library from Espressif is on version 3.3.4. Let's come back over here. But this says last modified a year ago, and this is the version. And if you click on this version, it'll show you all these versions. But the interesting part about this was this DCC1105B. That seems to be a hash of some sort, so I'm going to grab that. And then I'm going to come over to the official Arduino ESP32, and I forget the syntax here. It's like commits / that. Beautiful. Okay. As you can see, that is indeed referencing an Arduino ESP32 commit from May 27th, 2024. Okay, so this is, again, extremely old. And if we look this back, we can see right here, we are updating to version 2.0.17. And so as I was first digging into this issue, I found that apparently PlatformIO has made the decision not to support Arduino 3.0. Again, I don't understand that. Like 2.0 is old and not supported, and officially Espressif has moved on from it. And so again, the default state for this and Arduino is to use a very old version of IDF from Espressif and a very old version of the Arduino core library. And so I lost count of the strikes. Like I think we're like doing like a no-hitter in the 7th inning, and we've struck out all the batters. Okay, so again, that's what's happening right out of the box. I haven't done anything crazy. This is just the default state of PlatformIO as of November 24th, 2025. We're using a 1.5 going on 2-year-old version of IDF as well as the Arduino core library. And why did I pick this in particular? So we're who knows how long into the video here, but the actual issue that my customer is having. Okay, so for those that know, I have a service called Deploy the Fleet that I built. And so I'm going to come into libraries here, and I'm going to search libraries. And I was super shocked at this. If I do DTF and hit enter, it's like, oh dang, that's my name. I didn't realize that PlatformIO ingests all of the Arduino registry into its own registry. And so I want the DTF ESP32, not the there's an 8266 version, but we're looking at this one. So I am going to say I want to add this to my project. Now you'll notice it picks up the same versions as Arduino. These are my old 1.0 versions. That is for the old service. I have migrated to a new service for all customers, and I am encouraging all of them to move to the 2.0 version of the libraries, which support the new version of Deploy the Fleet. Okay, so this customer was trying to do that, so they selected the 2.0 version. Click Add to Project, and the project I'm going to select is this DTF test that I'm working on, and I'm going to click Add. And it adds this libdeps. Cool. All new things I'm learning in PlatformIO. Great. Now, if I come back to my main.cbp, I haven't made any changes. I actually removed the header file that is causing the issue. And now I'm just going to come back here and click Build again. And oh no, it does not build. This very simple sketch does not build. And come on, you can do it. Let me expand you. Okay, it's not. It doesn't want to do it. I don't know why it's been there. Got to get right on the blue line. No, whatever. All right. Same error. It's saying, I don't know where SPI flash mmap is. I don't even know about that. I actually get also this Wi-Fi H. Can't find that, which I don't actually use in my library. So I'm not sure where that this is the other part that I don't like about whatever this abstraction is. It doesn't tell me. It's saying here, but this is from within the framework Arduino ESP32 libraries. Like, this is not my code. Like, this is the installed PlatformIO location. And so it's saying on line 21, like if I click that and it opens it, like this isn't my code. This isn't me at all, but it's saying, oh yeah, I don't know what Wi-Fi.h is. And so it's like, okay, but that I didn't include that. So something triggered that obviously is part of my library, but I'm not sure. So again, I don't know what PlatformIO is doing here. And this is where, again, I'm just going to keep repeating it. Everybody's going to get sick of hearing it. This abstraction layer that's built above the tools is so heavy and so convoluted that once you get outside of the Happy Path, Hello World, LED Blinky project, or the examples that you just out of the box open, you change a couple, like once you veer off of that, this gets extremely hard to dig into and debug. And so I'm not even worried about this problem yet. I'm worried about this one down here, which is can't find SPI flash mmap, because that indeed is a header that I include. And so I think I can show that if I click on libraries and I come to installed, and I'm not sure why it's not showing my library. Does it just need to DTF? Like, it knows that it's installed. Maybe if I close it and reopen it, it'll update. Okay, yeah, there we go. These are just generic QA things, right? Like, I don't know. Not impressed. Okay, so I have the DTF ESP32 update library installed, and then I can do reveal, and it'll show like, oh hey, here's where it is. And again, this is where I was showing you earlier. Now I'm in my DTF test folder, right? So I'm here, PIO. I've got lib dependencies. Yeah, ESP32 dev, and then this is straight from my repository. This looks like my code that I wrote, and if I come into source, I've got this DTF OTA C driver, and the reason for version 2 I refactored all of this to have a baseline C driver. I tested it in Arduino, it works in IDF, and it works everywhere. It's very portable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that into VS Code here so we can take a look at it. Will it not let me just, yeah, there we go. And you will see I have included SPI flash memmap, and the build system for PlatformIO is saying I don't know about that header. And we've already shown, again, for those that weren't paying attention earlier, we come back over here to packages, framework Arduino, I think it was tools, SDK, ESP32 include. There's no header file here that's SPI flash mmap. I can come down here to SPI flash, include. That header is nowhere to be found. Fixing this I still have the Wi-Fi error, which I'm not sure how to fix. So I'm saying we could just drop it in here and maybe that fixes it. But the problem that I found out over the weekend is this. I was using and am using this EHP OTA ops. Like, I'm using the native ESP-IDF OTA mechanism as part of the Deploy the Fleet SDK. And way down in here, when you call Um, Yes, down here. We call it ESP HTTPS OTA. Okay. Now, let's find that in our included library. So we're going to come back. This is not the right folder. Let's look at... Okay, let's come back over here to home. Let's come down to PlatformIO. It's platforms, it's expressive. Nope, I'm doing the wrong thing again. It's packages, framework Arduino ESP32, tools, SDK, ESP32, include, and then I should have an ESP HTTPS OTA. Okay. And you can see I have ESP HTTPS OTA, which I may be able to open. Like IntelliSense may be smart enough to open that for me. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so it digs all the way down into the exact place that I was just showing you. And now, remember, what's the function I'm calling? I'm calling ESP HTTPS OTA. So let's look at that over here in the header file. Oh, it's saying not found. Really? But surely it is. ESP HTTPS. Oh, sorry. ESP HTTPS OTA under the cover calls what? ESP OTA begin when it finally gets into here. Okay. And this is the important part. So that's a higher level abstraction that IDF gives you, and then it puts you down into this ESP OTA begin, which you can see here is defined like commence an OTA update writing to the specified partition. And now the important part. Sorry, it's taken so long. Nightcry has confirmed, following along at home. Same issue with includes. What is happening here is you can see this is the return, and this is how I wrote the SDK, which is I look at this is the official documentation from Espressif saying here are the possible return codes. Well, there's two of these that are very important, and that is this ESP error flash OP timeout or ESP error flash OP fail. These two definitions are only found within SPI flash mmap. And so what has happened is whatever the build process is, and that's what I haven't quite figured out yet, and I'm still digging, whatever process wraps all of this up into this framework Arduino ESP32 with all the precompiled A files, whatever process is doing that is not including SPI flash mmap because it doesn't think it's necessary. And so that creates an incomplete export of the appropriate interface for this library. Because if you're going to export and allow people to call ESP OTA begin, which they do, then you must include all of the header files that contain all of the documented returned error codes. And in this case, they do not. So whatever process creates that precompiled goodness that's supposed to save you time and effort and complexity was not built correctly. And the problem that I got into with the customer is once I figured all this out, I'm not sure where to report this. And even if I do, who's going to fix it? Because PlatformIO has shown that they have no interest in moving to the Arduino 3. This might not be a problem in the Arduino 3 stuff and a newer version of this precompiled binary. And so I did find out that there is potentially a way, or not potentially, there is a way to do custom builds. But, you know, now from a customer standpoint, I have a customer, they're trying to use my library. It doesn't work in PlatformIO. The easiest solution is to say, well, come back to your PlatformIO, come over here, and change your framework from Arduino to ESP IDF, and then you can just build it with the IDF, and you can choose your version, and everything will be happy. The problem is that people have built up projects relying on the Arduino syntax abstraction, and so it's easy for me to say, for the customer, that is non-trivial. Like right out of the box, you can't do setup and loop anymore. You have to have an app main, and you probably have a whole bunch of other. It's probably not just my deploy the fleet SDK that you've pulled in as a library. You've probably pulled in sensor libraries and storage libraries and a whole bunch of other things that also rely on the Arduino syntax. And so it's easy for me to say, oh, just switch to native IDF and you can keep using PlatformIO. That's a much heavier lift for the customer. And so I'm looking for options. What can the customer do so they can get up and running on this? And the one that's a heavier lift for me is I build a version of the library that goes back to the old 1.x version of my SDK, which relies fully on the Arduino syntax. But again, I would want to do that using the most recent Arduino core, because that would make sense. Anybody starting a new project at this point should be using a newer version of IDF. But again, that's not supported out of the box with PlatformIO. And so now I have to figure out, how do we get a version of this that works? And so what somebody pointed out was, I've got to find where that was and see if we can. Okay. It is, this. Let's pull this over. Let's see if copying and pasting in VirtualBox works here. Sweet. Okay, you can see this. This is the PIO Arduino Platform ESP32. You can see it was forked from PlatformIO Platform ESP32. And the whole point, you can see right here, Arduino Core 3.3.3, 3.3, Arduino Core 3.3.4. What did I say the most recent version of that was? Let's come back to the main. 3.3.4, right? So this is keeping up with the most recent things coming out of Espressif. Release ESP32 Arduino Core 3.03 based on IDF 5.1.4. So it looks like if we can point our PlatformIO to this, maybe it'll work. But that still assumes that whoever creates that interface export .a precompiled mess has properly exported the interface for ESP OTA operations. So let's see how we do this. Download, install Visual. Yep. Open the extension manager, search for. So is this a separate? Okay, stable Arduino. Currently Espressif 3.3.4, IDF 5.5.1. That is exactly what I want. So it looks like I can change my platform to be this in my INI file, and then that should work. Let's check it out. So instead of this, which is the built-in PlatformIO one, we can swap it out with this. And then I'm going to hit save. And then it looks like it just starts going after it. Like PlatformIO, configured project, tool manager, installing. Like it's doing a whole bunch of stuff for me. Tools could not. Oh, this is. Okay. This is back in my file thing. Let's pull back out of that and let it finish its. My file explorer was just, it obviously swapped something out from underneath of me. And so let's see. Let's see what this gets us. Okay. And again, I know I'm being Debbie Downer on PlatformIO, but I do hope that it's educational, showing people that are trying to do production ready devices with the ESP32 how PlatformIO is not your friend here. Like it is going to bite you, and it's going to bite you hard, and it's going to be hard to untangle. The tools, IDF, like these things are not, they're not very complicated. Like everybody says like, oh, I really want to switch from the Arduino IDE to the ESP IDF native, but I'm really scared. It has come such a long way, and with just a little bit of pre-configuration, I've got some examples out there using Docker containers that are all pre-set up. Again, not a PlatformIO thing that I set up, just the environment, bare bones, full IDF, and I show you how to set that up in 10 minutes from scratch. And I've even done videos on how to import your Arduino syntax. So you can use the Arduino core library directly from Espressif in your project, IDF native, as well as pulling in libraries that you use in that project and doing support. There's a little bit of work there, but it's really not crazy. It's totally doable. And then you have 100% control of the native tool chain without any wrappers on top. It's extremely powerful, and I encourage people to dig into it. Okay, it seems like it's done. So what did it do? So I'm going to come back into packages. And now this looks different. Well, this looks the same, but this is new. Framework Arduino ESP32 lib. So if I come into here, I'm going to have still the precompiled binaries. So this is still getting built by somebody. And then let's just look right away. We'll know if our problem is solved because we'll come into the include. Come down to SPI Flash and see if they've included my header file. SPI Flash M map. Okay. This is looking promising. Let's hit the build button and see what happens. Okay. An unexpected error occurred. What? Okay, scones released. I don't know what any of this is. Tool manager. Okay, I don't. Verify that you have the latest version of PlatformIO using. I do. I mean, I have the extension installed. Okay, I don't know. I've hit a wall again. So this is how we include it. Check the platform setting. That's all it is for usage. So I don't know. Let's try a full clean. Let's do that. Let's do a full clean. Okay, that time it said it succeeded in installing a tool that it tried to install before. So maybe that's all we need to do, just full clean. Now let's try a build. That worked. Oh my goodness. If this is true, I am very grateful for whatever community is maintaining this, that PlatformIO has dropped the ball on. Okay, so all we've changed is the platform. We left the board the same. The framework is still Arduino. We still have my deploy the fleet SDK as a dependency. Although it is missing now. Oh, no, it's showing us back. Okay, we're good. I don't have squigglies anymore because it has found it. I'm not getting the Wi-Fi error anymore. So that is fantastic. Okay, again, from a production process level, what I would be asking people here is if you're using PlatformIO, and actually this is something I feel comfortable with, so but let me fully verbalize what I'm getting at. In this case, if somebody's reached out like this customer did and said, hey, it's not working, this appears to be a workaround. I'm going to do a little bit more testing here and try and fully build it and actually connect to deploy the fleet and do a full end-to-end test that, I can get OTA updates and all that. What it does do, however, is takes them from a pretty old version of Arduino Core and moves them to the very recent version of Arduino Core from Espressif. From 2.0.4 to 3. Whatever it was, 3.4.1, or I can't remember what it said. And so that's a major version change, which, in Semver, if you do a major version change, you should expect APIs to break and not be 100% backward compatible. So it is a non-zero chance that if you do this, it's going to break some other part of your code because of the interface or function calls have changed for certain things. However, that said, I would feel pretty comfortable encouraging customers to do that because I'm encouraging you to move forward in, security fixes, memory issue fix, like all these things that have been fixed since that last major revision. You should want and include, and it's probably not a lot of changes. Like it's the interface isn't going to be like 100% different, and you got to spend 10 hours fixing it. It's probably, at most it's going to be a couple of calls here and there that have changed that you should be able to fix. And so, yeah, all right, that totally worked, and I'm glad that did work. Let me just cover one more thing, and then I'll call it a stream. I'll do the I won't bore you with the fleet testing. I just really wanted to cover the PlatformIO. It took me, hours and hours and hours to get to this point because I'm trying to, the way I work, I'm trying to dig down, where are the files? Where's the IDF? What they are using, just so you can learn the things that I learned, is in the Espressif GitHub. We're going to come down and we're going to search for Arduino again. Okay. The very first one is the Arduino ESP32. This is the library that we're talking about that includes that wrapper and allows you to use the Arduino syntax to write code for ESP32. But if we come down here, right below it is the ESP32 Arduino lib builder. So if I come into that, you can see this repository contains the scripts that produce the libraries included with ESP32 Arduino. This is how you build and can do custom builds that spit out, as far as I understand, that spit out all of those .a files if you want to do a scenario where you've pre-compiled everything. And again, you won't get an argument from me. Having all the .a files pre-compiled then drastically reduces your build time. But it's 2025. Build time is not the blocking step for firmware development nowadays. It's not, hey, kick off a build, go to lunch, and then watch a movie after lunch, and then come back and it should almost be done building. We're talking about saving seconds here. On a old, underpowered machine, you're talking about saving a minute or two when you need to compile. Early iterations, maybe that's saving you more time than others. But anyway, I guess the point of that is I don't, from a development perspective, I'm not making that trade-off of saving a little bit of time in the compile step to completely hand over control of the interface exports and precompiled binaries. That's for me. That's not for me. Okay. To each their own. All right. So this is great. I think we got a solution here. I still do not like PlatformIO. I'm glad that it was not deeper than that. Where I thought this was going to go was we were going to have to figure out how to build a version of this, which it looks like this PIO, and is that PlatformIO just under a different name? Is it a separate? Let's come over here. What is this organization? Because if it was PlatformIO, why wouldn't they just have it under PlatformIO? So anyway, thank you to the good people at PIO Arduino for maintaining what is essentially what we would have had to figure it out on our own, which is how do we build this to include the right header files, to compile the binaries correctly, and whatever. So I'm going to call that a successful resolution to the problem. I don't think I will build a version of my SDK that supports the default state of PlatformIO because I think the default state is such garbage and I don't want to encourage that. And so at this point, I don't anticipate back building a version that works with this outdated default state of PlatformIO. I will just encourage people to make the change that we just made, which is to use this. You get all the latest and greatest, and unlikely that you'll have to make many changes to your code. So, all right, I think that's going to do it for the stream today. I appreciate everybody joining in as we continue the journey to create production-ready projects using ESP32 and the development tools and all that. So I appreciate you stopping by, and we will catch